Aloha, my name is Candace. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about not judging by appearances. So not judging by appearances. And this is such an important part of the manifesting process. It really speaks to not being reactionary to the physical world. So when we manifest, the process is we identify what we want, then we imagine a scene or use a tool like Isn't It Wonderful to move to the state of already having our fulfilled desire, and then we move on with our lives, right? But what happens if something seemingly contradictory pops up? What happens if the bridge that pops up is just bumpy? It's a bumpy bridge, it's a bumpy road. What do we do? And my response is to not judge by appearances, to not make any conclusions based on the bridge, right? No conclusions should be made based on the bridge. Because here's how we can compare. We can compare it to a movie. So we're watching a movie, right? And maybe in the middle of the movie, things just get really intense, right? The character development just gets really intense, and so the main character goes through some really trying things. If we make a conclusion right then and there in the middle of the movie, we miss the point, right? We miss the point. And it's an inaccurate conclusion, right? Because the movie ends. The movie has an ending, right? And if we make a conclusion in the middle of the movie about that character, about what has happened, about what's unfolded, if we make the conclusion in the middle, it's inaccurate. It's not the full picture. It's not the full picture. And that can be it can be compared to the manifesting process. We move to the end, right? We imagine the scene. We move to the end. We move into the state of it already being done. And then if something in the physical world seemingly contradicts it, we don't need to make a judgment about that. We don't need to make a conclusion about what that means, right? So when something pops up that seemingly contradicts, we don't need to add meaning to that. We don't need to make a conclusion about what that means because it's not the end. It's not the end. We don't have the full picture, right? And so this is so important with manifesting, to not judge by appearances, to not get caught in the middle and start making judgment about what's going on or making a conclusion, right? No. And what this tends to look like is you imagine something and then something seemingly contradictory pops up, and the thought process is, oh my gosh, manifesting just doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't work, right? This thing popped up, so clearly manifesting doesn't work. Or we might go down the path of beating ourselves up, of, oh my gosh, once again, I did not do this right. Like I must have imagined the wrong scene, or maybe I wasn't relaxed enough. Maybe I wasn't in sats when I imagined, and we start to beat ourselves up, right? And pick at the process and what we did. And I would like to invite you not to do that anymore. Not to do that anymore, not to make any conclusions in the middle, right? Don't make any conclusions. Don't add any meaning, right? Don't add any meaning to it. So if something seemingly contradictory pops up, no meaning is added to that. The only conclusion is this is not the end, right? This is not the end. And then, getting back into who you claim yourself to be, right? Boldly claiming who you claim yourself to be again, And so not reacting to what's popping up, not reacting to it, not adding meaning and analysis to it, not making a conclusion and saying, well, I guess it didn't work. No, it's not the end. How can we conclude that it didn't work? We can't conclude that. And so think about the movie, right? Think about the movie again. If we make a conclusion about that movie in the middle, we've missed the whole thing, right? We've missed it. And so it's just a reminder to not judge your bridges. I have another video on this that I'll link below. Don't judge the bridges. Don't add meaning to them. Don't analyze them, right? Instead, it's continuing to go to the end, continuing to know that it's already done, really trusting that you did it. You did it. And so it's done. And not questioning yourself, not saying, well, maybe I did something wrong, right? Maybe I did something wrong. No, you didn't do anything wrong. Not questioning yourself, right? Having full confidence in who you claim yourself to be and not letting the physical world change that. Not letting the physical world make you waver in who you claim yourself to be. You are the operant power. You are. And so not letting the physical world beat you up and victimize you, right? Because that's essentially what it is when something seemingly contradictory pops up and we start to question ourselves and we start to feel very small and we start to shrink back and contract, we are in that sense being victimized by the physical world. And so the invitation here is to always remain in your power. Always remain in your power, not letting the physical world dictate who you claim yourself to be, not reacting, right? Not reacting. It's like, nope, I know the end. I know who I am. I know who I claim myself to be, right? And not making a conclusion in the middle of the story. And there have been so many times in my life where something has manifested in a way that was so different from how I would have thought that it did. And if I made a conclusion in the middle, if I tried to make a conclusion that, oh, you know what, this isn't working, I would have missed it. Like it wouldn't have materialized. I shared a story about that when I went on that helicopter tour. It really seemed like I was not going to see the mountains, and I'll link that below too. It really seemed like, oh, well, this is it. It's not going to happen. But it's like, no, we cannot make these conclusions, these premature conclusions. So again, standing firm in who you claim yourself to be, not reacting, not adding meaning. So not reacting, also I want to clarify, not reacting does not mean that you're pretending that something didn't happen. I'm really not a fan of pretending. I'm really not a fan of that. So you're not pretending, oh, this didn't happen, it didn't happen, it didn't happen. No, you're not pretending that it didn't happen. You can look at it and say, oh, okay, I noticed that this popped up, but this is not my end, right? This doesn't change who I claim myself to be, right? I know what I did and it's done, right? And you can also revise it. You can revise it in the moment. You can do that. Or you can even do I remember when, and I'll link that below too. I've got a lot of links I'm putting below. But you can use I remember when. That's my favorite, one of my favorite tools to use when the physical world is just so contradictory to what you're manifesting. Using I remember when. It's a great tool. It's a really, really great tool. And that way you're not victimized by the physical world. You're still remaining the operant power. So, just a reminder to not judge by appearances. Don't make any conclusions, right? Don't make any conclusions when you are on a bridge. It's like, don't make conclusions about it. Well, it's not working. No, that's not true. That's not true. It's not true. So I wanted to share that. This is actually one of the manifesting pitfalls that I'm going to discuss in my class. So I am having a class on Saturday, June 13th, and we are going to talk about how to overcome manifesting pitfalls. We're going to talk about 7 pitfalls, 7 common pitfalls and we're going to revise them being common, by the way. But we're going to talk about 7 pitfalls and how to overcome them. And this is one of them. It's judging by appearances. This is one of the things that we're going to talk more about. So to sign up for that class, that will also be in the description below. And you've got this. We've got this. Please do not judge by appearances. Please do not. This is an opportunity to really see that the world will shift to you. The world shifts based on who you claim yourself to be, right? So if you persist in the claim of who you are, the world will shift. So at first, you imagine a scene and something contradictory pops up, and it might seem like, that's weird, right? But instead of reacting to that, still persisting and saying, I know who I am. I know my end. I know who I am, right? Not adding any meaning to this. You can revise it. Use I remember when if you want. And then you just keep on going. And then you'll see that the physical world will shift. It will literally shift to support the claim of who you are. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I look forward to you being in class if that sounds of interest to you, and I will talk to you soon. Aloha.